Hello, my name is Rafael Seiz Ortiz from Universitat Politècnica de València, and this learning video will deal with gerunds and participles and also about gerund and participial phrases in technical English. These are the contents of the presentation. We will start with knowing what gerunds and gerund phrases are. Then we will have a look at participles and participial phrases, and we will see some examples in technical English, in technical contexts of engineering. The objectives are to know what gerunds and participles are and how they form phrases together. Also to learn how to form and use gerunds, participles, and their corresponding phrases. And also it is very important to know the difference between gerund and participial phrases. We will start with gerund and gerunds phrases. A gerund is a verbal form, that means is based on a verb and therefore expresses an action or also a state of being that ends in ing and functions as a noun. Since it functions as a noun, it can occupy different positions in the sentence. It can be a subject, direct object, subject, complement, and object of a preposition. Gerund phrases can be subjects or direct objects of certain verbs such as require, mean, necessitate, involve. Here we have some examples. This structure requires urgent welding. Writing doesn't mean copying words of famous writers, and maintenance requires carrying out a series of planned actions. We have to bear in mind and remember that gerunds, ing forms, must be used after prepositions. Gerund then can be a subject, direct object, subject complement, and object of preposition. Here we have more examples. In the first one, it functions as a subject. Traveling might satisfy your desire for new experiences. Next to it, we have another sentence where we are using a noun as a subject instead of a gerund. It can be a direct object as well. In the second example, they do not appreciate my singing. Or a subject complement in the example, my cat's favorite activity is sleeping. And it can also be the object of a preposition, of course. The police arrested him for speeding. A gerund phrase, on the other hand, is a group of words consisting of a gerund, and after it we have a modifier or several modifiers, and or a pronoun or a noun phrase that functions as the direct object, indirect object, or complement of the action or state expressed in the gerund. We will see some examples. In the first example, where we differentiate the two parts of the sentence with colors. We have one part in bold and the gerund phrase in blue. The first example, finding a needle in a haystack would be easier than what they are trying to do. In this case, the gerund phrase acts as a subject. Finding is a gerund, a needle is the direct object of the action expressed in that gerund, and in a haystack is a prepositional phrase that acts as an adverb. Here's another example. I hope that you appreciate my offering you this opportunity. In this case, the function of the gerund phrase is direct object. Then we have different components of the sentence, such as me, my, this is the possessive form, modifying the gerund, offering, which is the gerund, you, the indirect object of the action expressed in that gerund, and this opportunity, which is the direct object in this case. We have another example here. You might get in trouble for faking an illness to avoid work. In this case, the phrase is the object of the preposition. Faking is the gerund, and illness is the direct object of the action expressed in that verb. And to avoid work is an infinitive phrase that acts as an adverb. In this other example, we have the gerund phrase acting as a subject. Being the boss made Jeff feel uneasy. Being is a gerund, of course, and the boss is the subject complement of the state, in this case not an action, a state expressed in the gerund. We will move on now to participle and participial phrases. A participle is a verbal form again, but in this case it most often needs an ending in ing or ed and functions as an adjective. Since it is an adjective or acts as an adjective, it modifies nouns or pronouns. And there are two types of participles. Present participles ending in ing, so they resemble gerunds, and past participles. They end in ed or irregular forms. A participial phrase is a group of words consisting of a participle in this case and again a modifiers, a pronoun or a noun phrase that function as a direct object, indirect object or complement of the action or state expressed in this case by the participle. Here we have examples. Removing his coat, Jack rushed to the river. In this case, the phrase is an adjective. Removing is a participle and his coat is the direct object of the action expressed by that participle. Another example. Susan noticed her cousin walking along the shoreline. The phrase in this case is an adjective modifying cousin. Walking is the participle and along the shoreline is a prepositional phrase acting as an adverb. In this other example, children introduced to music early develop intellectual strong skills. Then the phrase is again an adjective but modifying another word, children. Introduced is the participle, past participle in this case, and music is the direct object of the action expressed there in that participle. And early is an adverb. In this last example, having been a gymnast, Lynn knew the importance of exercise. Again, the participle phrase is an adjective modifying Lynn. Having been is a past participle, and a gymnast is a subject complement of the state expressed by that participle. In technical English, we find many examples of gerund phrases, participle or participial phrases. Here we have some examples of gerunds and gerund phrases. We have them in bold. Increasing takeoff and landing weight required strengthening the landing gear. Here, as in all these examples, we find that the order of the elements, the actions, are expressed in the different gerunds. Another example, longer ranges require increasing fuel capacity. Enlarging fuel tanks meant having to extend wingspan. These changes involved redesigning the entire wing, and also we have examples of phrases that are actually in ing form as complement of a preposition. Boeing was interested in offering airlines several variants. Fuel tank capacity was increased by enlarging wings. Engineers were not against adopting the proposals, and lastly, they were afraid of losing time in the design process. As we can see, we have the ing form as a result of the preposition. We also have a lot of participles and participle phrases in technical English. Here are some examples I'm going to read. With all changes being approved, the next step was simple. The changes having been accepted, the engineering team went to work. Working overtime, the team managed to complete the first draft. Plans are similar, the only difference being that the -300L will carry 355 passengers. Gains are substantial, the most significant being fuel economy, and many reasons were cited, the most important being the need to increase passenger load. As we can see here, the participle and participle phrases are very important to actually organize your thinking. As a conclusion, gerund and participial phrases are very important because they give precision to the expression in technical English. These type of phrases are important to make ideas, concepts, actions very clear, especially in writing. And we have to bear in mind that ing and id expressions must be used properly depending on the meaning and the situation. I hope you found this learning video interesting. Thank you very much.